So, believe it or not, this is actually my first ever iPad. I mean, I've been around them, I've used them before, but I've never actually purchased one for myself. And there's a few reasons for that. I used to hate Apple, the sort of pompous attitude that everyone would have around Apple. However, in my adolescence, I am now 21, I have come to realize that actually there might be something to it. So I've got the 512GB model, that's 4 gigabytes of RAM with the all-new A12X Bionic processor, which is phenomenal, by the way. So this thing only weighs 631 grams. And the bezels, well, the bezels on this device don't really exist. I mean, they do, obviously. Any display nowadays has a bezel. Even the phones that are bezel-less have bezels, they're just tiny. But the screen to body ratio on this device is 99%, and its thickness is only 5.9 millimeters. Of course, it has, liquid retina display, like a lot of Apple's products nowadays. It doesn't have an OLED display, which is a shame. It's still LCD, but it's whatever. You come to expect it with Apple. It's still good. It's still fantastic for a display. Contrast is fantastic. Color accuracy is fantastic. Saturation, brilliant, spot on. Just like most of their laptops, really. Where this thing really shines, though, for us as filmmakers and photographers, is in its display. It's 264 pixels per inch with a resolution of 2000. I have to check my notes here. 2732 by 2048. That's an odd number, and it's just because of the 16:10 aspect ratio. But it does mean that when it comes to photo editing, which is what I've been doing on this device, it really is quite sharp and easy to see a lot of those details. As a lot of you are aware, though, they did get rid of the fingerprint sensor for this device. However, that's not much of a problem for me. I've got the iPhone 10. I've been using the iPhone 10 for a while now, and I quite like the hands-free activation. It's a lot of time saved. I don't get why people still like the fingerprint thing. I get it, you can open it in your pocket, but I think just not touching anything is the way to go. Another thing you guys might be concerned with a device like this is what's the battery life like? I had a Surface Book, that's a laptop. The battery life I used to get on that was around 6 hours, and that's like just generic use. That's media streaming and maybe the odd Hearthstone here and there. The iPad, however, gets me 10 hours a day. It doesn't even drop below that, and I've played Hearthstone on it for near enough 8 hours, and it hasn't died. I don't know why. Maybe the battery's magical, maybe I'm just playing it on low brightness, I don't know. But either way, it lasts a long time and I haven't noticed anything. This also includes Bluetooth 5.0, which is one of the latest Bluetooth settings, which means if you have a pair of Bose, like I do, you really get a lot of fantastic sound quality out of these. And I know a lot of that comes down to the headphones and the sort of things you wear, but it also does come down to the device. If you have a bad Bluetooth device, you're gonna have bad audio. Luckily, no such problems here. Now, if you're like me, and basically for the sake of this video's entire existence, you picked up the iPad because you kind of wanted to see what it's like from a photographer's perspective. You want to know if you can replace your laptop. The short answer, yes. Long answer, kind of. You see, if you're about on the web nowadays, you may have seen a few adverts for RAVPower File Share Hub. I've got one, it's right here. This thing lets me transfer files between my USB storage device or SD card to my iPad via 5G networks or 2.4G networks. All of that comes from this router or this power bank or this memory card holder. It's a lot of things in one, really. The reason it's been around so much is because the iPad is becoming more popular and people need a way to transfer files. Because, and this is one of the downsides now that I'm going to, iOS 12 at the moment, 12.2, still doesn't have decent file management systems. I mean, just trying to do a PDF document on this thing is a nightmare. But that doesn't mean we can't get around it, and that's where tools like this come in handy. So, let me show you how that works. So once your RAV file hub and your storage devices are connected and set up, you just need to make sure you go to your settings app, and you need to make sure you have your Wi-Fi turned on first of all, and that you connect to the RAV file hub 5G network. I'm already connected. I'm connected automatically because I've typed in my password and I've got it all set up. Just if you're confused and you can't log into your app, your file hub, sorry, just look for the password. You might have it incorrect. It should be in your user manual, and if you've changed it, just make sure you enter it correctly. So once you've connected to the RAV File Hub 5G network, just open up the RAV File Hub app. Now this app can be found on the App Store. It's free to download. To search for RAV File Hub, not RAV Power or anything like that, just RAV File Hub. So open up the RAV File Hub app, and you should be greeted with a screen that looks just like this. It'll tell you your disk space and your available disk space on the storage device. That will depend on whatever storage device you've got connected at the time. So now is the cool bit. Click on File Management, and inside here you need to go to the DCIM folder, and for me it's the EOS1D folder. And then here you can see all of my raw files, including 4K video and whatever else might be in here. This is the coolest thing about this RAV File Hub, is that it lets you access files that are completely full res and haven't been compressed in any way, because they're just straight off of the device. The only issue, of course, is it's being transferred over a 5G network between the iPad and the RAV Power device, but that, of course, just depends on, speeds. So let's say that I've got to this point now and I'm looking to move multiple images into my photos. Just click multi-select and then go ahead and choose whichever ones you want. Then once you've done that, click copy to, and then select iPad photos. I'm not going to do that because I've already got loads of photographs moved across, so I'm just going to go and show you what I would do next. Once that's all done, and you have your photographs in your photo section, you can see them here now for mine. You just need to go ahead now and open up your photo editing app of choice. I use Lightroom because I'm familiar with it and I think it's quite a powerful tool. Of course, it's Adobe, so there are free versions out there. Just have to find whatever you're comfortable with and use whatever you like. So we open up Lightroom. We'll ignore this notification for now. And then we need to go and make sure we're in the import page. So from the import page, we'll just click down here on the icon of the picture frame with the plus icon. Click that, and then we just select like we would do on a computer. We just select all the images we want to import. Let's select these two, because these two look like they're having a lot of fun. Okay, so we click done. Here it is, it's now imported. So once we've imported it, we have access to all of the tabs that we would otherwise have access to in Lightroom. We've got Light tab, which is where you'll find your exposure and contrast settings and highlights and stuff. Color, it's just as powerful as the desktop Lightroom version, with all sorts of access to black and white and color temperatures and saturations. You've also got effects like your clarity and your vignettes and your dehazes, your details for sharpening, and you have a bit of noise reduction. It's not as powerful noise reduction as it is on desktop, but I haven't actually noticed a problem where it's meant that I've had to go back to my desktop. So far, I've only used my iPad since getting it to edit photographs. In the light section of Lightroom, you've also got access to your sort of curves and things like that. If you're more advanced than I am and you want to use curves, you can do that. Anyway, I just wanted to show you how easy it actually is to edit photographs on the iPad. It doesn't matter what you use. You might use Lightroom, you might use Affinity Photo. It really doesn't matter. The point is, it can be done, and that's my argument. I haven't really gone back to desktop photo editing since picking up the iPad, and I picked up the iPad because I wanted to see if I could get away from the desktop. I wanted to see if I could get away from being tethered down to my room, being tethered down to a creative space that isn't as exciting or engaging and as healthy as the great outdoors. I can take this outdoors with me. I can put it in my backpack, it weighs nothing. And I can do my photo editing anywhere. And with the File Hub, I can, access them on the park bench. I can access them at a cafe. I don't need to connect anything using more dongles. As we know, Apple love dongles. I guess, with USB-C on this iPad, you could see introduction of file transfers in the future, but of course that's only hoping that iOS 13 comes with some sort of file sharing, file management system. We don't know yet, we have no idea. We can only use what's available to us now, and what's available to us now is definitely enough to get the job done. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any other questions about the iPad, whether it be about the pencil, the Folio keyboard. Whether you have questions about the technology I use, my microphone, my lighting, let me know. I'm more than happy to share. And I'm going to go now because I can clearly see that those lights behind me are about to die. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.